I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, and thank you all for coming. The consent agenda, does anyone have anything they want to add or added? Okay, seeing no one, like a motion, please, to accept the consent agenda.
I move that we accept the consent agenda.
The second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Okay, now, something a little different. We're going to approve the decision of the expulsion panel. Is there a motion?
Actually, you have to put it on hold, because at that meeting, only Cheryl Poe and Christie and you don't have a quorum to approve it. They'll just have to be put on. So the decision of the expulsion will be delayed until December.
Do you need a motion to table?
Yes.
Right. I'll move to table the decision on the decision of the expulsion panel until our December meeting.
And I'll second it.
I have a question. So does the expulsion then get delayed until it's moved?
Nope.
No.
It's only the recording of the fact that a decision is made. Decision is made and certified letter to the parents who are part of that meeting. No.
All right, then I'm in favor.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Okay, now we move to communications. And there is a notice from the state, which Mr. Petro will discuss.
Sure. The public received something recently that I just put out. It's kind of a quick summary. It has a chart, because I know I gave you two documents. The board is looking at the information from the state, and then an email, which is the substance of the letter that the public has. It's just a little different format. So if you look to your notes as a board, this is just for people to understand. The letter that we received, dated October 26th, by Kathy Dempsey, Chief Financial Officer for the state, stated that in their calculation, Plainfield currently is non-compliance of what's called the MBR, the minimum budget requirement, which is a law that has been on the books for a number of years, that no district can fund in any year less than the subsequent year for education. So if Plainfield spent $35 million on education last year, they would have to spend $35 million this year, unless there is an aberrant reduction in enrollment, which there is not. What happened, that is explained in this letter with some backup, is the fact that when the state, the legislature, decided that they were going to make a cut to the ECS, which is our state aid, they cut a number of districts. Plainfield was cut $750,000. The Board of Finance determined that they would actually cut us approximately $690,000 to make sure that we could be whole for all the projects we had already initiated. So a cut was made to the state aid to the district by $750,000, and that law that they passed to do it one time, 1 year, allows the district to make that adjustment. And actually, many of you who voted to adjust our budget backwards by $690,000 in May of last year, because that cut was made, not by the town, not by the revenues, but by the state aid. And what they said is, since we're cutting state aid, you can cut your minimum budget requirement by the same amount, which was done. Now we come to this year. This year, you'll see in a chart that I gave to you and that the board got, that they reinstated, they went down to 14,601,000 last year. If you look in the first column, right? They cut down to 15,163,000. They brought it back by about 500,000, not the full 700,000. So the state has determined in the formula they gave us, we have a page with it, they showed us that when they start with the original amount that Plainfield started with, 35,500,000 the year before the cut, and you add the new ECS money, which is 550,000, Plainfield now should be at $36 million. We're not. So they said we are in deficit. And when you go in deficit, if you don't correct it during this year, we have until June 30th, if we don't correct it, the state then will take 1.1 million, twice the amount out of next year's ECS. Now I know I have a little tone in my voice. This doesn't seem to make sense, because if you look at the chart that I gave to the public and that you got from me, the town gave us 17,788,000 last year, and they gave us 7,767,000 this year from the tax base. They made no cut to the tax base and no cut to the contribution. We got $2,468,000 from revenues, such as Sterling, that contributes to students who attend our school, about 118 who attend our high school, and there's a tuition, and they gave us that money, as well as we got some other revenues, E-rate and some magnet revenues. We got revenues of $2,468,000, and we got $2,497,000. For the last 3 years, Plainfield has consistently given us the same amount of money. The revenues have been basically the same. The only difference is the state aid, and because they cut the state aid by $750,000, and the legislature has said that would only happen 1 year, they expect the town to pick up that loss. And I don't know how that would be done, only because I don't know where the money would come from. You'd have to ask the taxpayers for $500,000. So the letter I wrote, which is substantively what you saw, my name is attached, and it went to Mr. Chambers, is to explain that this wouldn't make sense, because the state cut us by $186,000 from the 2 years ago to now, and the town actually gave us a little more than that. So we are actually at least even with MBR, if not a little bit ahead. Mr. Chambers said to me, again, the same communications, when the new legislature comes in after November, they're probably going to have to fix this, because we are one of about 25, 28 communities that are in the same predicament. But, you know, they told you you could make the adjustment, they made it, they gave us more money, we put the money back into the coffers. The townspeople were very generous in terms of saying money that came back had to come, and they awarded us a flat budget, so we appreciate that at least we didn't lose ground. But now, because the aggregate total is short of their projected total, they're saying that we're behind. So that was the communication. I thought this 5 minutes would help you understand that we are in deficit by the formula. You got the copy of the formula. We are not in deficit by the contribution to the town. We're not in we are not in deficit by the combined contribution of the town and revenue of the town. The only place we're deficit is in state aid. They cut us, and they're saying that we have to make it up somehow. I'm pretty sure the legislature's gonna figure this one out. I mean, I know it sounds funny,
Sorry,
but
I apologize.
but you know, for the people who are here, just if you look at the numbers, it's not an argument with them. It's really just, can you see how it makes sense? In the aggregate, we went from 35.5 to 34.8 to 35.4. That's what they have in front of us. That's the chart we have. They're saying the 35.4 is not enough. You have $36 million. I would love that. Give me another $500,000. Thank you very much. But it's not realistic to think that if the state cut you, that you're going to make that up, you know, in local taxes.
Do we know if other towns are receiving the same notification?
Absolutely. When I called Mr. Chambers, he said, "You're my first to call, but I have 18 in front of me that I know are going to call me pretty soon." And I've learned that there's more than 20 now that are active in the Superintendent's Association trying to make sense of this.
Did Canterbury get one of these things as they made that cut?
I didn't ask who. I wrote to our Fran Rabinowitz, the head of the Superintendent's Association, and she said, I love the detail you've given to me because it certainly shows it's not your problem, but I haven't heard from a lot yet. I heard that a lot are beginning to act and ask questions, but she hasn't received that. Only Mr. Chambers said, I have at least 20 plus of these notices that went out, so I'm expecting to get more letters. There's no answer tonight. We didn't want you to hear in the news or see us listed in the newspaper and think that you did not do your job, that the board did not do its job. The numbers are in front of you. You can take them anywhere, including to the bank. Those are the right numbers. We have, in fact, funded our schools to the extent that we felt was our obligation, and we appreciate the town's support. We will just try to let them understand that the reduction, it was only done by state aid, not done by the town. Hopefully we won't get in trouble.
Now, we have until the end of the fiscal year.
You have until June 30th before it becomes a crisis. Yeah.
So according to Mr. Chambers' math,
Yep.
we are $500,000 below the MBR,
Yep.
which we must find in this fiscal year, in which we have a bare bones budget. So if we can't find the money, they take double it from next year's appropriation.
And then we'll be suffering this every year.
Correct.
Isn't that
Yeah.
delightful too?
Mind you, the additional deduction would put you below the previous year's
Right.
MBR.
Then you get a $2 million reduction the second part of that year.
And when does the state take over? Oh, this,
I did send this, obviously, to the finance director, to the first selectman, and to the board of finance chair. I just wanted them to realize that, number one, we're in receipt of it. We wanted to make sure that they didn't receive something and think that we were not trying to address it. I wanted them to see how I presented to the state the clarity that, it says right here, we are a district that supports the town. We work together. A district like us, we're trying to tell you, we have very clear numbers. There's no evidence of failure to meet our obligation. So,
and there's no slush fund.
no.
And, you know, the town has been great. We work well together. Okay, let's move on.
One last question. Is this MBR calculation sheet that they provided us something that's been sent to the district before when we're not in violation?
They don't send you when you're not in violation. You only get this letter. And
But has this ever been distributed just as a informational piece?
to my knowledge, I've been here this is my 8th year, and I've never seen this form. That was new to me.
Okay.
I was having a bad week. This did not make it a better week.
Well, I seem to see Connecticut general statute cited for almost everything except this MBR calculation. That's the only reason I ask.
Yeah. I can only tell you, Mr. Erdogan, if you look at the chart that you have, the vertical one right there, right? So at the top it says, what was the 2017-18 original budget? And it was $35,550,000. If they had allowed us to put the $34,861,000 at the top, which is the money that they cut us, because they cut us in October, right? If they had let us put the $34,861,000, then the number that would be calculated against would be the $34,861,000, and in fact, we would be right on target for the MBR. Because it said, or place a 0 in that line. And we couldn't place the 0 because we actually cut the budget. That's what we had to do. We were told to do that. So they said, take the greater item of line item 1 or 2, and that's what makes you come to the $35,550,000. They should have said, if it's legitimate and it was the state, use the lower number, $34,861,000. And clearly, when you see the $34,861,000 even on the chart you have, and you add the $550,000, you will come to the $35,420,028, and that's what we did, is we took the money the ECS gave to us, and the town applied it to our budget. So, somewhere this will be worked out. The early news is we're in deficit.
Okay, so moving along, we come to resignations. And there is a letter from Melissa Tracy resigning her position as school counselor at Plainfield Central Middle School, effective November 21st.
Right. I would just recommend that you accept her resignation. She is giving us some time until November 21st. We have placed an ad for the position, and she's moving to a new position in another district.
I'll make the motion that we accept the resignation of Melissa Tracy.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Thank you.
and now we have an appointment of Tim Lafayette. He's been with us and recently received his general certification retroactive to the start of school. So we need to officially appoint him to the position in, what?
Plainfield High School Tech Ed.
Okay, Plainfield High School Tech Ed. May I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to accept this, the placement.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
And this will be made retroactive to the start of the school, which is when his
Yes.
certification was on. Yep.
Okay, and then we come to the public forum. We're going to start with the district app demonstration.
Hello, Christina O'Dor, Data Manager for the district. Last month we brought you the new website and we've had great response to it and I hope you're enjoying it. So tonight I want to show you and debut our new app for the district.
So just a public service announcement here, because we showed you the website last time. It's kind of like we built the building and now people are moving into the building and populating the building. So if you go to the high school page here, you'll see these 3 stories populated about the success of Plainfield High School students. The boys cross country team winning their title, the band state champions again, and our girls soccer team, which will play Saturday for the state championship at a site that we has not been determined yet, or the time has not been determined yet, but we should know that tomorrow. The important thing is here, if you go, this is all student-driven content, and this down here is a link to the podcast, which is completely student-produced, and made with help of Mr. Jordan back there. So our students are populating our website with news about their activities and our successes and going forward. So we're going to demonstrate the app, and I'm going to give my phone actually over to Ms. Woodruff right here. Yep, I'm here. Okay.
So on the district page, I have loaded the announcement about our launch of our new app, and you can also find the links to the iTunes Store and Google Play to directly download it to your phone, depending on which phone you have.
Okay, so this is my actual phone, and then if you just download the app, you can see the app here on any of your smart devices, and you click it, and that's the actual app.
That is the actual app.
Yeah.
And so when you first log on to the app, you will be prompted to select a school. So if you have students at one school or a couple of students at different schools, you can select all of the schools you want. And we're going to let Mr. Baker have all the schools. Or it's just automatically defaulted to the district. So it'll run you through that step. The first tab is About Us, and it'll just tell you about Plainfield Public Schools, where then you'll be able to visit the website. If you hit call, you'll be able to call right from your phone. In schools, even though you may select 1 or 2 schools, we still have the list of schools that you can see, and you can go and to any school, bring that up, and be driven right to the website as well, right from your phone. And you can see our website conforms to whatever device you're using, and so you can see exactly what's on that website. Sorry, I don't have an iPhone. So then we have the lunch menu, which again takes you out to another website for the lunch menu, and you can pick your schools from there. And so depending on what schools you want, you will get whatever is in the front page of that school. So we have Plainfield Memorial, and we have the Discovery Bus. So whatever is in their news feed, you will get. Staff directory works the same as the website. You'll be able to email staff from that page. We also thought it'd be great to have some kind of resource, something about National Institute of Health. So if you hit those links, you would go out into those websites, anything that is going on in our community. Perhaps we could have some great resources for our community to go and get some information. So we can also add that to them. And then a nifty tool is the events. And what it is it populates all the events that are happening depending on what you have selected for your school.
Oh, Board of Education meeting.
Yes. And
Hey,
the great thing is you can select anything and you can add it right to your calendar from your phone. So if I put on, parent day, I can put that on my phone and it goes right to my calendar. So when I look at my agenda or my calendar for today, I'll be like, oh yes, it's early dismissal today. I to remember.
Cut that out.
So. Oh, you don't want me to add? I was going to add all of them.
Those two guys at the end of this table want you to say there's going to be an early release tomorrow.
So the great thing is, on the top here, I can click the calendar and I can move forward to see what's going on in February and March, or I can just go back. We also have the parent portal. So this is our Aspen account. So parents now have the device in their hand. They don't have to go to their PC to look at it and get up-to-date information about their students. And then we have a nifty tool down here called notifications. We haven't sent one out yet, but that will be the notification like you get from Amazon or, coming down to your phone, Plainfield Public School announces this, and maybe go to our website and read this article. So we'll be able to do that for the community as well. So that is our mobile app. You can go and get the links on our website, right on the district page. I will be putting that in all of the school pages, so in case parents just go to the school page, they'll be able to have that opportunity as well. Any questions?
So like a snow day
Well,
would be
yeah, the App Store.
an alert on your phone?
Or notification?
I'm sorry.
Would snow day be a notification?
And snow day could be a notification, yes. So that would be great. It'd go out to people and they'd be like, well, I have an extra 15 minutes, I'm not gonna get on buses, right?
So we'll continue to use the school messenger, because that is not by choice that a parent chose to use the app. That goes out because everyone has to default not to get that phone call in the morning at 5:30 in the morning. But some of our high school students are up at 5:30, getting ready at 6 o'clock to be on the bus. So we do issue that. So if there were a delay of school, that will go out by messenger, and we will link to that feed, and then the feed will also go to the cell phone. So a lot of students, they just pick up their phone, they can see it clicked on and say, oh, what's that? Whoa, I'm not going in for 2 hours. I'm not going in at 7:15, I'm going at 9:15. Yes, I'll be going back for nap. So, not tomorrow, guys, not tomorrow. Not tomorrow. The snow's not coming until very late. So you saw the website, and now you're seeing the app, and the two are interfaced exactly, as well as they interface with all of the resources. So if you want to know school lunch, you can go right to it. Before you had to kind of go through the web to figure out how to get all that information. Parents, they had to go onto the website when they were at home, at the computer, to see if their student grades were there. Right on the phone, they can just log right on and say, my son's in school, my daughter's in school, they can check.
And when they go to the website on the phone, so if they went to the high school website, they still have the same menu for parents, for students, everything is right there, just like the website was.
Pretty neat.
Getting there.
Looks good.
Thank you. Okay, public forum. Are there any members of the public who would like to address the board? Okay, seeing none, we will move on. Student representative.
Yeah, hi, June Gagney, Central Village. I'd just like to ask about the website. Are you able to use it in the school? Do you have like a Wi-Fi system here where you can actually access that from the school?
So all of our schools are Wi-Fi accessible.
Okay.
We find a little bit in here, like the size of the building, there can be, because the amount of brick and stone,
Yeah.
like I have to go to a certain place, but they built the redundancy, correct, Mr. Worth? We actually have what's the redundant area so that even if you're in the hallways, you should not lose a signal.
Okay, I was
So,
just
yep.
curious, because things have changed a lot.
Right.
You used to not be able to access anything.
Right, we couldn't even get phone messages
Right.
inside
I
here.
don't either.
But the new Wi-Fi access and Mr. Pardon's work and his team has really been working to make sure that no matter where students are, they can continue, because kids are walking around with their technology all the time.
Sure,
Right.
okay, thank you.
Thank you for your question.
I don't get Wi-Fi
You don't?
in the
No.
library, in this library, right? No.
No.
What's that?
One bar.
There's only one bar, so we need more redundancy here. We noticed the library is one of our
Put a
sensitive
router down or
areas.
whatever.
Yeah.
Because you think of the library, the kids can
Right.
connect.
Well, but you see, they can do that. They're just not using their that is directly linked in. So it's not they don't have access, but if they want their personal access, we need to build more redundancy.
So we need more bars.
We need more bars, we need more access to the Wi-Fi. That is correct. The library's weak. Yeah. Maybe they'll do that in the report.
Okay, moving on to student representative reports.
There's been a lot of good things this past month, especially with sports. For football, their season has been going very well, and Kyle Holt, who was nominated previously for Player of the Week for the ECC, had actually won this past week, which is great, well deserved. Girls soccer is a big one. So they won the ECC medium school for the third year in a row, and they also made it to state finals, which, like Dr. Bickett said, is a Saturday. So I have a lot of faith in them. They're definitely going to win. Conferences were last Tuesday, I believe, and there was actually a very big turnout. We volunteered. There was also a paint night for NHS that was 2 weeks ago, and we made a decent amount of money. There was quite a few people. His mom was actually the painter person. Cross country also won the ECC Division 4 title, and the sophomore Jake Irons, like the Panther podcast, like Dr. Bickler also said, is on, which I watched the first video. It's very good. I would definitely tune into that. Thanksgiving football game is 10 o'clock on Thanksgiving. Hopefully they'll beat Bristol this year, like 2 years ago. It's home, yeah. What else? The senior class is doing a gift card fundraiser, so that's going to raise a lot of money for our class for prom tickets and things like that. What else? Basketball and indoor track meetings have started, so they'll be starting in a week or two, which is great. And that's it.
So we have some fundraisers ongoing right now. We have the food drive in period 2, which actually Chamber, who just went to Carnegie Hall, is living that one. That was a fun weekend. I was grateful to partake in that. Amazing performance. Just being in that room was awesome. And we have the combined choir on the Thanksgiving Day game with the Griswold. Chamber's going to be doing that. And we also have a fundraiser benefit at GHS November 29th for a young lady that has a high stage of leukemia, I believe it is. And we have the Hospice Church performance on December 2nd. And December 7th, the Governor's Mansion, which I believe this will be the last year we're going, but it's always a great opportunity to perform for him. And we have some fundraisers. So the pie fundraiser for the music department is ending this Friday. And as far as I know, at least for me, there's been some success with that. State champions again. This will be the 6th year running now. Oh yeah, I don't know if I mentioned Carnegie Hall is our 3rd year, so that's amazing to say. And theater auditions are coming up on November 28th, and we have some workshops prior to it, so the kids can get their feet wet with that. We had one yesterday, and then there's one November 20th.
What is the play going to be?
It's Newsies,
When is it going to be?
May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Thank you.
Did you say that Griswold is performing with the chamber choir?
Oh, no, Chamber Choir is going to Griswold on November 29th for a benefit for this young lady.
Oh, okay. That's, yeah, that's really nice.
And I thought it was clever, the theater program actually ran the movie The Newsies.
Oh, yeah, movie night,
So that people come in and just donate money, didn't charge anything, so people wanted to put money in. That money was donated to Plainfield Memorial School because of the fire damage and to support them. And they also gave out the refrigerator magnets, which I talked to one of the advisors and said, just like a wedding, get it up there, so it's on my refrigerator, because I went to go see the movie. And that way you have don't forget the date, May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th for the Newsies. It should be great, it should be a great performance.
Absolutely.
Well, congratulations to our sports teams, to the band, who now has trophy cases,
Yeah.
and participating in that fundraiser. That's just great. Really proud of you. Thanks. Okay, now a little change in things. Standing committees and individual reports has been moved from the bottom to number 7 because basically we're all chomping at the bit to go, and the committees really don't get their due. So, with that being said, we have CAPS Student Awards.
Right, that's just to remind you that on December 4th at Killingly High School in the evening, and we have it on, we'll send out a second notice on that. Towards 6 p.m. What we do is we bring all of the students from our region to be recognized, and we recognize 2 students in grade 8, 2 students in grade 5, and 4 students in grade 12, because we recognize both Sterling and Plainfield students who attend Plainfield. So all of those children are recognized for leadership, for academics, and for involvement. And they will then come to you at the December meeting, and you'll get to meet them personally right here and hand them their certificates. But that's the night, if you want to see them among all their peers, you can go to Killingly. So we'll give information. Plus, you have many other subcommittees that might be meeting. So.
Okay, are there any committee reports to be given?
We do have a meeting tomorrow.
And that committee is?
Curriculum.
What time?
At the ECS building?
Yeah.
ECS.
5:45? All right. Good thing you reminded us, I already know.
5:45, you said?
Yes. That's right, it's the 15th.
And you have?
You're not trolling.
The policy subcommittee did meet, and what we provided was an overview of what we're doing at the different schools for attendance at this point, in conjunction with the progress that Dr. Hughes is making. And so, before we make any changes to any or recommend any changes, we want to continue that progress and come back with another update. The whole wants to see how that's affecting our attendance piece.
And there's a report tonight. That
For
was,
adopt, yeah.
right, for adopt.
Okay. Old business. The budget and facilities report.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Barry. The financials are pretty straightforward. There's no significant changes over the prior month. We're running status quo. We did receive a $100,000 check from KERMA as a prepayment of our insurance claim, and we had the opportunity to mitigate the $100,000 worth of transition and some of the reclamation costs that we incurred through October 2nd. I'm continuing to collect the invoices for transportation or rental agreements and such, and we'll be submitting a second request once the dollars build up again and start posing an issue for us financially. That is about it on the financial end. Like I said, there's no significant changes over the prior month. To move into the facilities report, there's a few items to talk about. One is at Shepherd Hill, we do have a continuing issue with the gutter on the eyebrow section over the music area. At the time of my writing of this report, I had not received any quotes. Subsequent to this report, I have received some quotes, but only from single contractors. In other words, one contractor sent me a quote on fixing the roof. I would like to get more than one. A single contractor sent me a quote for doing cleanup of the water damage area. Again, I'd like to get more than one. But it gave me an idea of the cost to do the repairs. The cleanup could be anywhere, the water cleanup could be anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000. The roof repair and gutter repair right in the section of the gutters is about $10,000. So we're getting an order of magnitude of what we're going to be looking at when it comes time to actually pull the trigger and do these repairs. The other roof problem that we've got is here at the high school, and it's directly above our heads. And just as I was entering this meeting, I received some information on a potential dollar value to do this repair, and it's in the area of $12,000. Again, it's only one contractor. I would like to get more quotes to see how competitive that is, but it gives us an idea of what we're talking about for dollars to do these repairs and get these schools tightened up. At Moosef Elementary School, the fire marshal did his walkthrough, and the team at Moosef is moving forward and making the adjustments and changes that are being recommended. There was nothing significant or serious of nature. It's just items like maybe a light may be out on an exit sign, or I don't know, just minor things that extension cords and plugs. Yeah, minor things that just need to be taken care of, and the team there is doing that. So we're well underway of making things right. At Plainfield Memorial School, the restoration is underway. I was informed that the second floor lighting that is being replaced with LED fixtures. You're going to hear more about that later tonight when Mr. DePietro talks about some of the energy saving programs that we have going on in the district. The restoration contractor was already informed of the style of work that we wanted set up for the rooms that we'll be replacing, the areas that were burned out. I have not been over there since we spoke to him about that, so I don't know where we are in that restoration. We are meeting with the team on Friday, I believe. Mrs. Hutchinson, is that true? Yes, Friday. So we'll have a better handle on exactly where we're at. We'll be speaking probably with Andy Pardon on some of the technical infrastructure, phone system, wiring. Again, the insurance provider should be there, and also the restoration contractor should give us a better handle on where we'll be within the next week or two. Let's see, at Central School, they have installed new cafeteria doors. That would be in the front section on the south wall. Those doors were rotting at the bottom and were letting a lot of cold air in the wintertime. Those doors have been replaced, and they appear to be working well and sealed up nicely. They've also installed new stair treads on the front staircase and the atrium staircase. Those areas were worn significantly over the years and were causing a problem of potential slipping. So those have been replaced. We did have an opportunity to meet with our transportation subcontractor, DATCO, and after meeting with them, we received good news that they are committing an investigation of route reduction for us to see what they can do to help mitigate some of our costs. We have not received that information yet, but that was only a couple weeks ago that we had that discussion. So it takes a while to go through these routes and determine what they can do to help tighten things up for us. So that was hopeful and helpful. What will be talked about later in the agenda is the last item on my facility report. We did complete our annual walkthroughs, and the results will be spoken about shortly. So, Mr. DePietro, did you want to talk about the energy savings?
Well, I will. I do want the public to know that two members of the board, both Mrs. Barry and Mr. Radon, participated with Mr. Lucy and myself with the Town First Selectman and a representative from DEF. We have two here, one who is participating in our meeting. And I sent you some information which we lovingly refer to Ron font. Anything that is below a 9-point font, we call Ron font because he has a very precision kind of hand. And so I know you have good eyes, you can read that, but you'll see I exploded at the bottom on this thing here. This may help us who are not visually impaired, but it just will give us a quick reference. The public does have a copy of this, so it helps the public to stay along. So overall, what you're looking at is the town has already undergone this initiative on many of their own town buildings. And what they're looking to do is to convert to a more energy efficient LED lighting, which will save the town money in general. It will definitely go towards a more ecological, responsive environment. And overall, you actually get a higher quality visual environment because it represents daylight closer, which in terms of reading and capacity would be an improvement. To pay for that could be very expensive, and they've developed a plan using a consultant that looks at initiatives, grant monies that can actually offset the cost. It will not 100% offset the cost, it does it to an extent. The remainder of that cost then has to be paid through some way, and again, the creative way that looking similar as we talked about with solar is that you can then take a loan for a set of projects, and that loan, right now they're making that offer at a 0% for up to 4 years. And so what happens is you would be paying that off monthly. The monthly amount that you would pay to pay it off in 4 years, if it can be done in 4 years, approximates the amount of money that is being expended, inclusive of the incentive money, to basically change 3 of our buildings to all LED and energy efficient lighting. So it's at no new cost to the district because the money that you would be paying for your electric bill would have been higher if you did not do this energy savings effort. And then that money that is saved is added back to the bill to pay off the loan. And in 4 years, you will have paid off the loan, but for 4 years, your children would have had better lighting and we've been more ecologically responsive. And then at the end of the 4 years, you're living with, under LED, you're looking for multi-year lifetime of LED lighting. So you're talking 10, 20, possible years, but you made that investment up front. To give you the numbers in front of you, you can see that PMS, which we have some new numbers because the entire second floor of PMS and room 202, because of the fire, has been replaced with LED lighting. So the number will be dropped, but let's just take the reference that we worked with. So you'll see that the conversion cost would have been about $77,000. The initiative would pay $22,000, leaving a balance of $54,000, which we need a loan for. That, however, under the energy cost audit that was done, says when you do all that, you should be saving about $648.15 a month. Same thing for SHE. It's a more expensive project. It's a bigger building, $102,387. The incentive would pay for $42,918, leaving us a balance of $59,000. At ECC, there is no solar project going to ECC. This is all savings based on LED conversion. $55,000 to do the entire work. $20,000 would be the incentive. The balance would be $34,000 for an aggregate total loan for the loan of $148,000. Let's say $150,000 is what we take a loan for, and $86,000 would be no cost savings from an incentive paying for that that the taxpayers don't have to pay for and we don't have to pay for. That $148,000 has to be paid off monthly for the term of how many months you're going to pay it off. And if you see, one might take 50, 60 months, one might take 58 months, one would take 48 months. At $2,398 savings per month, which is the estimate of the conversion, that's going to be applied to the electric bill. So if your bill was $20,000, it might be only, X amount of dollars, but the rest of the money would still be there. You'd be paying the same bill, not a higher bill. And that money would be paying off over 4 years. Couple of notes, like we think this makes sense. The board has a goal to become more green and more energy responsive. The board has a goal to improve its environment. The board has a goal to save money, so it is supporting the goals. These 3 schools were the schools where their energy consumption was at a level not so aberrantly high that they could go under this plan. You have to go for a different plan when you're over the 250 kilowatt hours in terms of the usage and stuff. So you have to have different grants, as we learned. So we learned all of that. And we also learned that the loan has a 4-year term of 0%. In the 4th year, there's a 1%, and in the 5th year, there would be a 2%. We don't know beyond that, but we got the basic idea that you're given a 0% for so many years. The faster you pay it off, the fact is it'll be paid, but if not, you'll still be paying an amount, but you are going to be accruing a little bit of interest, and that will obviously be absorbed into your bill, your electric bill. At the bottom, I noted some of the concerns that we did. When a school goes beyond 4 years, there'll be a little more interest fee. That the reduction in energy consumption, we already got numbers for all of our schools because we did that when we looked at the solar project, and they only came in at about 70%. This will knock the top number down of what we've been using now, because we'll be using a little less energy. Now, it does save energy, it does save cost, but the solar then will be a little mitigated. It may not be the amount we thought, because we'll be using a more energy efficient school. So it does a little reduction to the savings of solar, but the net overall image is that you will be saving money, and that money that is saved can be applied in the solar project towards solar, and in the LED conversion to the LED conversion, which this one is. And then the only time these savings will really be realized to the public is when the loan is paid off. Maybe after 4 years, our bill will actually be lowered because we won't be paying the loan and we'll be paying the lower bill. And I don't know in 4 or 5 years if the price will go up, but it would have gone up whether we did that or not. So in general, the 3 schools that are not affected right now are PHS, PCS, and MES. They are high energy consumption. If you remember, MES is the all-electric school of the future. It was built that way. And it's so big that when they put the addition on, they actually have 2 generators or 2 agencies that are bringing electricity into that. So those are things that we have to do differently, and we do have an agent if you have questions. You have 2 board members who can do it. I thank them for allowing me just to give the overview, because I was trying to give it in a capsule that says, this is a good thing, the town is looking to do it, they are looking for support, and you have 2 board members who can share their perspective and their insight as to the benefit of why the board might want to support this.
Why were the other 3 schools left out? I mean, I understand that was different.
You'd have to go for a very different incentive grant, and they can't fit into this model. What?
It can't be encapsulated into the other model?
No, I believe that we're going to do them separately.
Well, the Lucid School does fall in the parameters, and it has been submitted to the power company today, and we expect to get their report back in about a month.
Okay.
The other 2 schools are over 200 kW of power consumed, so it doesn't fall into the small business energy program. It falls into the energy opportunities program, which is a whole different set of roles, different department, different engineers. We are starting there. We just wanted to get some impact from the town as to whether they were interested before we got to that. It is a lot of work.
You also told us that there was a deadline, so would that put you said we had to make this decision tonight.
So the deadline with us is we're going to amend the project to include the mechanical savings which are available. I have 180 days from the time you sign the contract to add anything else we find. And we have found some additional work, but again, it has to get approved by the power company, and they're very, very slow at approving. Just to address some numbers, the school that paid the slowest, because it was an 8 cents per kilowatt charge, was the Memorial School. We were able to get the power company to change that to include the third party. You're at the 17 cents per kilowatt hour.
17.
All your schools are within 17.
We figured,
17
yes.
cents, even the ones, but it's very difficult for the power company to acknowledge the third party costs. So your savings is greater than what you have in front of you.
Great.
So your payback, we figure your payback is less than 4 years on all the projects.
You said it was 180 days that you had to do it within.
We have to provide, if we're going to amend a project to include the mechanical savings, we know there's mechanical savings. We have 180 days from the time we complete the lighting project
to add the mechanicals, to get they work on a bonus system. They give so much money for lighting only, but they increase their incentive if we have a comprehensive project. Right now, it's not really lighting, we're attacking, you've got hot water savings restrictors we're doing. If we see insulation that we can do, we do that also. There are a couple of schools where you've got soda machines with vending machines, that's the refrigeration savings. But there's other controls that we're going to present to the power company for making your heating air conditioning systems more efficient.
And that would be the mechanical piece?
Yes. And that's this gentleman here, that's his.
At the meeting, one of the things discussed with regard to the LED lighting was that it is good for those that have SAD, the seasonal affective disorder, because the LED approximates natural light, it helps to alleviate this condition. So, you know, better for the students, better for the faculty, the staff. I mean, the whole thing, to me, pretty much sounds like a no-brainer. If you look at the loan amount, the 148, if we paid that off in 48 months, subtracting what we get for electrical savings, it's under $700 a month that we would be paying for all of this, which seems like a good deal to me.
I'm happy to say I agree.
I'm happy to be agreed with.
I think it would be important that we keep this at the 0% financing range, that it would be
Yeah.
consolidated down to 48 months. And it would be coming out of money already appropriated for capital improvements, so it's not as if we're spending extra money on something, we're spending the money exactly how it's supposed to be spent. Win-win.
What is the status on our solar panels? Are those in place? Is this,
No, that'll start next summer.
so will the anticipated savings on the LEDs, once the solar panels come in, how does that?
So
The solar
when,
panels supposed to reduce our electric
Correct.
cost to 14 cents a kilowatt?
oh, six or seven, down immensely, right? Maybe 8, something like that, yeah. Because we're gonna get the rebate for having brought power back to the company, so we're gonna get that money reduced off our bill. But in reality, what happened is the solar experts that came in here, they looked at the total cost of what it costs to operate this building as well as PMS, Shepherd Hill, and ECC. Right, so let's say they thought that right now you're producing, let's just say you're paying $10,000 a month. They said with the solar, you could go down to actually being $6,000 a month. This energy savings right here shows you the ECC building, you're gonna save another $600 a month just from the LED. So you're still gonna save the $3,000. $600 will be from the LED and the rest will come from your solar. They're on top of each other. They're not separate from each other. But you are starting with a lower number. The good thing is, if you remember, the solar company said they were starting at 70%, and we're now looking at a 70% reduction because of LED or mechanics. So they feel that we did ask for the solar consultants to call us, they haven't yet, but I'm sure that will all be taken into account. If you approve this, you're approving the ability for the town now to go forward, and these schools will be done only in the evening hours after school, not while students are in, right? And at these schools, it's a little bit easier because they're not in PCS and PHS where the kids are there till 10 at night. Like I tell you, there's never not kids here in the building.
We probably want to, for whatever time that you're not occupying Memorial School, we probably want to get as much work done in that building as possible. If vacations, we'll probably want to ramp up for those also.
Yep.
So whatever's available.
Weekends, whatever.
So we'll start out with a very small crew, so people get to know us. And then as everybody's comfortable, we'll ramp up our labor force.
Sounds good. Okay, so do we need a motion?
Yes, you do.
I move to accept.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.